Thanks for staying with us. We're going to start with the nation. Supreme Court verdict, APC didn't trade off Kano and Plateau. Government to change approach on disco's funding. LIRS affirms January 31st deadline for annual tax returns submission. President gets kudos for anti-graft moves. President won't spare culprits after probe into Humanitarian Affairs Ministry. Food forex pressures push inflation to 29%. Edo 2024 APC invite Oshomole, Ezeyamu and others. And wasteful, Eagles fail to win AFCON opener. Okay, which story are we starting with?
Okay. So major headline. So now they're singing praises of the president as well as the Supreme Court because, of course, Kano, the Supreme Court upheld the victory of the NNPP at the Kano governorship elections, as well as that of Plateau, as well as Abia, several other states like that that were at the Court of Appeal last week, and all of them, you know, the Supreme Court, sorry, they were at the Supreme Court last week, and the Supreme Court upheld all of their election victories, and now they're singing the praises of the courts, that they have trust in the judiciary. They're also commending the president for being a father of all and non-interference with the judicial system, and so many things I would expect, but I'm hoping that this continues if it's the other way around. So congratulations to Kano State, the NNPP, to Plateau, as well as Governor Sanwo-Olu of Lagos, whose victory was upheld at the Supreme Court. So that's the final on all of our election tribunals.
Right.
The EFCC had reopened the money laundering cases against 13 former governors and some former ministers. And then following this reopening of the investigation, that's the investigation into the stalled 772 billion fraud cases. You know, we have so many Nigerians who are asking that the Anti-graft agency ensure the prosecution of these individuals involved in this alleged looting of public funds. So we have civil society groups, lawyers, and concerned citizens. They say in separate interviews with The Punch, you know, all are asking that these individuals, these ex-governors and ministers, must be brought to book. There's a whole list of all the people who are being investigated or who have been alleged to have been involved in one anti-graft activity or the other. But they said that, however, EFCC is currently investigating the 81.6 billion that was allegedly looted by the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs. And then there's another 2.2 billion that was alleged to have gone missing through money laundering and fund diversion and misappropriation in recent times. So many people, some of them in government, some of them used to be in government, and, you know, they're out now. And so EFCC, you know, so the narrative is, yes, EFCC may be investigating them, but then they have to also go to court. The court will determine their culpability. So this is a process. But the general message for this report is just saying that Nigerians are saying, don't forget these people. Everyone who is alleged to have committed a fraud or any other kind of money laundering needs to be brought to book.
Yeah. So Ajuri Ngalale yesterday was speaking to TVC Politics show, and where he specifically said that his special advisor to the President of Media and Publicity, Ajuri Ngalale, was saying that there will be no sacred cows when it comes to the issue, the ongoing investigation to the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Alleviation. He made this known during the show yesterday, and says following the suspension of the minister, Dr. Betta Edu, the president last weekend has suspended, however, the 585 million naira allegation of the payment into private accounts. So he was being interviewed yesterday, and he specifically said that the president has instructed the EFCC and also I think it's also Mr. Wale Edun, the Minister of Finance and the Coordinating Minister of the Economy, to chair the investigation of all that happened at the ministry. And he said that the president has directed such investigation to say that no names should be left out. If they are found guilty, they must all be brought to book. Anywhere this investigation takes the FCC and other investigating authorities, that it is where the investigation must go, and the president was very strong and adamant on that. He said the president also said that we shouldn't worry about any cabinet reshuffling at this time. It's too early for that. He's not going to let time go, and if he fully understands that somebody is not up to the task, he will fix the problem and ensure that no stone is left unturned, that all ministers can be investigated and there are no sacred cows within his cabinet.
Yeah, so the federal government is not happy with the poor performance of electricity distribution companies, and so it's planning to change his approach to funding the 11 firms. It said that the discos had not paid any dividends to the federal government despite owning a 40% stake, and also the government has injected not less than $1.25 billion in the last 12 years into the disco's operations, apart from the other interventions also running into billions of naira. And in spite of this, we still have an epileptic electricity. So they also said the lack of returns led the government to strip the Bureau of Public Enterprise, BPE, of his authority over his shares in the discos. The Ministry of Finance incorporated MOFI, which is by law mandated to manage government assets, and now they have to take charge of the government's 40% stake in the discos. Now, a Ministry of Finance official was the one that talked about this frustration of the government at the weekend, and said that since 2012, not a single dividend had been paid, and this is not working for them, considering all the amount of money that has been put into that. And also, the president has a plan to build our economy to $1 trillion. And if we do not have electricity, that will not work out well. If we are not able to, increase our gross domestic product, we will not be able to get that $1 trillion that the government has planned. And now they're asking a question that how do they address some of these things? And it's just by, government changing its plans of either funding them or not funding them, or partnering with private as well. And this is going to be affecting different businesses till they get it sorted. So the hope now is that government does something very fast so that we can have a bit of electricity for businesses to thrive.
Okay, The Punch, 7 major marketers get approval to sell Dangote fuel. Passengers stranded as BRT drivers down tools over pay. Ex-minister's friend offers to pay 50 million naira for abducted Abuja girls. Tinubu strips gulped 3.4 billion naira in 6 months, says government spend. Policemen not permitted to search citizens' phones, Lagos State Commissioner of Police says. And EFCC, Nigerians want ex-governors to account for 772 billion naira.
Okay, major headline again.
Major headline?
So 7 of the major oil marketers, all 7 of them actually, have registered according to their Secretary and Chief Executive Officer, Clement Song. He said they've already met with Dangote himself, and they've registered to distribute refined products from that facility as soon as it's ready. The Dangote group says that they've started the process of refining into crude into diesel as well as aviation and they are hoping that within this month start to distribute the product across. But Ipman said they were meeting with them last week. The story remains that they are still hoping to meet with Dangote so that Ipman can know where they stand with the distribution of petroleum products, as well as the Petroleum Retail Petroleum Group. I'm trying to get there for Petroleum Product Retail Outlet Owners Association of Nigeria, also who are also engaging the management for distribution, supply of products license.
Okay, let's go on a short break. When we come back, we continue with our review. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Thanks for staying with us. We're still reviewing the papers. We'll continue with Punch.
Yeah, I have another story. So the Lagos State Commissioner of Police, Fayoade Adegoke, has said that no police officer is permitted to search phones of any Nigerian. He said the police force has a cyber section that's responsible for that. And if any officer suspects anything, they will just take you to the station, and then the cyber section will handle that. He also said that if you've been cheated by the police and you want to make a report, you can report to the DPO. That's allowed. And if the DPO is not forthcoming, you go to the area commander. And if the case is not solved to your satisfaction, you can forward to him directly. That his number is all over, it's everywhere for Nigerians, for Lagosians to access. And also that no policeman has the right to beat citizens. That the people are the government employees, that your taxes are the ones that support them, so they must treat you with appropriate decency. And so no beating of Nigerians, no searching of their phones, except you take them to the cyber section of the police for that to happen. So I think Nigerians need to also understand their rights as well, to demand that, okay, if you want to see my phone, let's go to your station.
Okay, so the immediate past Minister of Communications and Digital Economy, Issa Pantami, has revealed that one of his friends has offered to pay 50 million naira as a balance for the ransom to the bandits to release the remaining Mansour al-Qadriya sisters. If you recall, al-Qadriya sisters, 5 children and the daughter of his late brother were abducted, and one was killed on Friday. I think it was buried on Friday. Really sad. That was Nabiha. She was killed, sadly. It was really, really a painful situation, and the remaining sisters are still up in abduction. So Issa Pantami's friend has offered to pay the remaining 50 million naira balance to them, and hopefully they should be released. They're expecting them to be released immediately. He says that further, I spoke to a friend, and he was saying it was through his Twitter page or X page. He says that I spoke to a friend and a brother who offered to pay the remaining 50 million naira of the 60 million that was initially paid. And the father of our daughters, Mansour al-Qadriya, to the friend and brother to send the money directly. Any additional amounts can be used to take care of the girls when they're being released. He said, may the Almighty Allah reward the brother and friend for this donation. So we're going to talk about it a bit later, but it's really, really sad, the space of kidnapping in that region. Moving on quickly now to Daily Sun. Turbulent times ahead for aviation sector. Imo Agoga Uzodinma begins second term. Supreme Court, mammoth crowd welcomes Governor Yusuf in Kano. Sale of forms for the 2024 UTME kicks off today. Serap asks Akpabio Abbas to cut 344.85 billion National Assembly budget. Beta Edu, Ohaneze youth kick against media trial. Okay, which story?
Okay, Jam, of course, the spokesperson of the Joint Admissions and Matriculations Board, JAM, Dr. Fabian Benjamin, in a statement last year disclosed that the sales of form would run till February 2026, and similarly, and now that March 7 is slated for the mock UTMEs, but the sale of form commences today, the 15th of January 2024. He announced the outline of all the exams. The mock exams will be March 7, and the main UTME will be April 19th to the 29th. And they have different days. While candidates are expected, of course, to print the examination slips from April 10. I hope that I wish all those participating in this year's JAM success.
All the best.
Wish them all the best. So the report says the inability of the foreign airlines to repatriate their trapped $800 million from ticket sales accruals has cost Nigeria a blistering 40% loss in air travel market share in 1 year. They said for 2 years running now, offshore carriers have been at loggerheads with the federal government over their detained funds. And though the government had released $60 million that's the central bank, it's still not even up to the 50% that they are asking for so that they can continue their business. So the aggrieved carriers, through their union, the Association of Foreign Airlines and Representatives in Nigeria, AFAN, are warning that if they are not able to repatriate their funds, they will likely toe the line of Emirates and Etihad that suspended their trip 2 years ago into the country. Now, the Vice President of the National Association of Nigerian Travel Agencies, NANTA, Yinka Folami, talked about it, saying that the difficulties of repatriating their revenue generated from their ticket sales is what is making them block their lower inventory. So you find it very difficult now if you're in Nigeria and you want to book a flight outside the country. Now, what most Nigerians are doing now is either book from other African countries, which is cheaper for them. Some have even liaised with their family and friends abroad so they can book their tickets abroad. And that is also taking out revenue for our nation. So they're asking that the government has to do something about repatriating their funds for them. We need to import more. We need to export more so that we can make the funds to be able to pay. Or else, I don't know. That's just the solution.
Call it quagmire. Okay, you have a story? Let me take the president, state governors, ministers, National Assembly members, and other prominent Nigerians are expected to be in Owerri for the second term inauguration of Governor Senator Hope Uzodimma. The Commissioner for Information, Declan Emelumba, disclosed this, that the presidency has confirmed the attendance. He said that they're expecting quite a number of governors to also attend. According to the commissioner, owing to the pan-Nigerian disposition of Governor Uzodimma, traditional leaders across the country would also grace the event. He announced that because of the quality of guests being expected, security had been beefed up in and around Owerri. He also appealed to residents of the state to accord their traditional hospitality to all the guests attending the inauguration ceremonies. I would love to hear former Minister Fashola's thoughts on this. Moving on to Vanguard. Manufacturers threatened as CRR rises 45.5% to 30.81 trillion naira. Ohaneze youth praised Tinubu flay media trial of Beta Edu. With 2,900 trucks, $20 billion Dangote refinery products will flood market, says marketers. Supreme Court verdict, we didn't trade off Kano. Remembrance Day, governors drum support for armed forces, families of fallen heroes. And AFCON, Nigeria 1-1 to Equatorial Guinea. Westerhoff Nwanu in shock as asked many questions about Eagles.
So,
yeah, go ahead.
Yesterday was the Armed Forces Remembrance Day Thanksgiving service across the nation, and so we had governors. Governor Sanwo-Olu in Lagos had it at the Chapel of Christ Lights at the Secretariat in Alausa. The governor of Plateau as well, Caleb Mufwang, and Ekiti, all across like that. And generally, what they're asking is that, you know, we remember the fallen heroes, their families. We should put their families first. We should support the members of the armed forces. Generally, they're asking for these things, but we do this every year. And Miriam took a story of widows of 1992 who are still asking for the entitlements of their husbands. Yeah. And you wonder whether we are saying what we mean. You know, it should not, these women should have even had closure. They should know their husband have died, they've raised their kids, the government had done what they need to do. But we do this every year. So I took the story with a bit of...
a pinch of salt or a bucket of salt?
No, with a heavy heart. I didn't really feel impressed by the governors and the ceremony, because we made it a ceremony rather than a continuous reminder to do the needful. So,
okay, so the youth wing of Ohaneze Ndigbo yesterday condemned the described as media trial of the suspended Minister of Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Alleviation, Dr. Beta Edu. They also lauded the president for his doggedness and adherence to the rule of law. The leader of the youth wing of the group, Chukwuma Okpala Ezoku, who made the condemnation, says Ohaneze Ndigbo youth wing commend President Bola Tinubu for his proactiveness and adherence to the rule of law on the issue of the recently suspended Minister of Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Alleviation. We also thank him for setting up a presidential panel to investigate the veracity of the allegations instead of sacking her outrightly. Consequently, we hereby wish to rally support for the suspended Minister, Dr. Beta, by calling on Nigerians to allow her fair hearing and let the ongoing investigation run its course without media trial. Okay, I think that's our final paper. Let's take Nigerian Tribune very quickly. Let's find a story we've not taken. PDP, APC set to clash in Plateau. Only 23 Nigerian businesses make over $1 billion revenue annually, says PEBEC. Controversy trails alleged plan of foreign airlines to pull out of Nigeria. Concerns grow over kidnappings in Abuja. NDLEA raids Scotch's factory in Ibadan. Intercepts large consignment of Canadian loud. And Edo 2024, polls show 74% of voters support zoning, and Finance Ministry takes over federal government stakes in 11 discos. Okay,
NDLEA, operatives of NDLEA said on Thursday they raided a school cheese factory in Ibadan, Oyo State, where 76.6 kilograms of cannabis sativa, 134 grams of tramadol, 93 grams of rohypnol, 50 liters of already produced cookies. They say it's a liquid mixture containing various types of psychoactive substances. All these were recovered. They said operatives also intercepted large consignments of Canadian loud. This is an imported strong synthetic strain of cannabis. It was packaged in 324 bags, weighed 111.2 kilograms, and this was found in the Onikon area in Lagos Island. It was being conveyed for distribution in an unregistered Grand Caravan vehicle by a 42-year-old named Taufik. They said this arrest they were able to do this based on credible intelligence after they had arrested a particular Italy-bound Godwin who was intercepted while attempting to board Royal Air Maroc flight. Quantities of codeine-based syrup and roughnol concealed in his luggage, and many other operations that the NDLEA has done over the period.
All right, that's all we can take on Front Page Review. When we come back, we want our hot topic of today. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.